I've only been here a short period of time, but I can clearly see the togetherness, and already I feel a part of something bigger. I feel a part of a family. So now that I know the boys, I can see that this is something that I should have been a part sooner. I think that's my only regret, not being a part of this sooner.
It's Rog, and I am absolutely beyond delighted to be here with a gent who's kept fans of 3 different nations holding their collective breath and crossing their every extremity for the last couple of years, and for good reason, because this 21-year-old is a skill-soaked talent who plays like he could find his way in on goal even if he was blindfolded and spun around in circles. A gent who's just completed a season of wonder, becoming the first American to score over 20 goals in a top 5 league. At Rennes in Ligue 1 in France, he was on loan there from your mighty Arsenal and has just arrived in Las Vegas, where he's with the United States men's national team on the eve of pulling on a US jersey for the very first time. It's a true joy to welcome to the US men's national team and back to the USA, Mr. Folarin Balogun.
Hello, America. Nice to meet you, Rog.
Balo, off the top, there is so much excitement surrounding your news, your decision, and this has been some journey. Incredible to see you in camp with the US men's national team. But in your own words, Balo, what kind of a player are you? What kind of a striker did the United States just have join them? Can you describe your style of play?
Yeah, I'll try to do it in the best way I think possible, but I think I'm a versatile striker. I wouldn't consider myself your usual striker. I mean, I like to drift into different pockets. I like to link up play. I also like to stretch defence, and I mean, growing up, I've played out wide, so I'll say I have a good palette of things I can offer as an attacker.
I've got to tell you, for many years now, myself and many other American fans have yearned for what finally came true. May 16th, 2023, you filed that one-time switch to represent the United States internationally, tying yourself permanently to the country of your birth. And I want to start there to hear your story in your own words, because you were born in Brooklyn, July 3rd, 2001. Keen listeners will have noticed exactly one day before America's very own birthday, which can't just be coincidence. Your parents were said to be visiting family here. Tell us the story as you know it. What was the visit? How long did they stay?
Yeah, so my dad's sister lives in Brooklyn. And of course, my mum was obviously pregnant at the time, but she had it planned to go out to Brooklyn and see my dad's sister. While she was out there, they caught up, they spoke about things, and then as she was planning to leave, she went to the airport, and actually when she was at the airport about to board her plane, they noticed she was too close to her due date, so they told her that she couldn't fly. And then she obviously went back to my dad's sister, sorry. She was shocked to see her back again. But yeah, she just comforted her. She told her that she'll look after her, and this is a fantastic place for you to have the baby. And then yeah, a few months down the line, I came out.
And thank God for that. You were here, I believe, until you were 2 years of age, when your parents moved back to London, where they previously lived. And your football story begins quite early with the Sunday League team, Middlesbrough. How old were you? What do you remember of your first encounters with the ball?
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys actually know that, but yeah, my first team was Middlesbrough. I have great memories being there. I still keep in contact with the coach at the time. His name's Ian, so shout out Ian. But I have great memories. He taught me a lot. And then from there, I played grassroots football for a long time. And then eventually when I got to about 13 or maybe 12, I had trials at Arsenal.
What player were you, Balo, in your imagination back then at Aldersbrook as you burnt around the pitch? Who did you think you were?
In my head, I thought I was CR7. To be honest with you, I mean, in the beginning, it was a bit difficult for me because that was just my first time being in a team. I'm used to just playing literally with my brother just on the road. But no, that was my
In the
first
street?
time. Yeah. And then as I got older, I started to improve and I started to find it really easy. And then I was going to tournaments, being top goal scorer, winning best player of the tournament. So then I knew kind of from within that I am quite good at this.
Yeah, the story goes that at age 10, you scored the only goal in a local final, and some random gent walked up to your dad, and your dad just thought he wanted to ask where the bathroom was or something like that. But turns out he was an Arsenal scout, and he offered you a trial. Take us back to that turning point moment.
Yeah, precisely as you said it. I was actually taking a penalty because we was in a shootout. So I was taking a penalty, and then as I'm walking to the penalty spot, I looked behind to see where my dad was, and he was talking to like a middle-aged man on the sideline. So I just didn't think anything of it. I took the pen. It was the winning pen. So then me and my teammates, as soon as I took it and I scored, we was all celebrating. Everyone was happy. And then I just remember, as I do every time I finish a tournament, I speak to my dad to just ask him how he thought I did and just what he thought I could do better. And then I also asked him who was that guy you were speaking to. And then he had a smile on his face. And my dad he's normally just says what it is. He's quite a straightforward person. So I was a bit confused. We spoke for a little while. I was asking more questions. Who was he? And then after about 5-10 minutes, he was just like, he was a scout for Arsenal, and Arsenal want you to train there next week.
You were in the same Arsenal class as a young gentleman named Bukayo Saka, the class behind Emile Smith-Rowe and Joe Willock, who since joined Newcastle. You also overlapped with the quite magical Eunice Musa, now at Valencia, also your teammate on the US men's national team, which I do find incredible in terms of life and life journeys and life paths. But take us back there to that age, that time. What was Eunice like back then?
Yeah, it's funny that you used Eunice actually because we have more in common than playing for Arsenal. We actually grew up in the same area in Barking and Dagenham. So I remember playing football with Eunice at Arsenal, and then when sometimes I used to get the bus home from training, and then I'd see Eunice in and around Barking and Dagenham, so I was a bit confused. And I remember I asked him, "Where are you from?" And he said he was from Barking. So we kind of laughed about it that neither of us knew. And then as time went on, Eunice obviously went to Spain. He made a brave decision to go out there and develop his career. And then things have just come full circle now. I'm back. I'm obviously his teammate now with the US national team. So it's a nice story. And of course, Eunice is still the same guy. He's a nice guy, humble guy. And I'm glad to see his career is doing so well.
Balo, life is amazing. Barking and Dagenham, the 51st state of the United States for sure. But development's never linear. None of life is. And you've said that when you were 15, you expected to be cut by Arsenal because things weren't going well. But within a year, everything changed. You exploded, scored bucket loads, really shed loads of goals, helped propel you to your current professional career, signed your first professional contract with Arsenal at 17, February 2019, kept developing while you watched Arsenal first teamers like French poacher Alexandre Lacazette and Pierre, Remick, Aubameyang. And you've said that your game is most similar to Oba's in that you both like to play off the shoulder of the last defender. And for his part, March 2019, Oba tweeted, "This young boy is fire," commenting on you. And he's a complex gent. But so many young players at Arsenal have talked about how Aubameyang helped them along their way. Balo, what did you learn from him, from the striker position, and how to operate both on the pitch and in life?
Yeah, as you said, Aubameyang and not only him, Lacazette were two great examples I could have as a young striker and how to develop my game. Aubameyang for his qualities in behind and his finishing abilities and how explosive his game is, and also the timing of his movements in behind. And then Lacazette, more so his link-up play, how he links in with the midfield and how he's able to bring other teammates into the game. So I think that also has helped me even now in my season in France, where I was able to score all types of goals in behind and also fast link-up play in the middle. So I'm thankful to both of them. I'm still in communication with both of them. So I mean, it's always nice to have such mentors on your side and people who have done it and people you can ask for advice. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, Balo, in that regard, 2018-19, you propelled Arsenal's under-18s to the league title with 25 goals from just 19 appearances. And around this time, Arsenal legend Thierry Henry, talk about people who pulled you aside and helped you. He spoke to you after a London derby and gave you a poignant message. Do you remember what his words were to you and what shifted about your career trajectory at that point?
Yeah, I think that was shortly after I signed my pro contract at Arsenal. And then I think it was kind of I was in a bit of a weird space at the time because, of course, I've just signed my contract. There's obviously a lot of attention on me. There's expectations and there's this sort of expectations I have of myself that now that I've signed this, here we are, and you're on the big stage. But I learned after a while that you almost need to repeat what got you there.
That was his advice, right?
No, this is what I observed. So then that leads me on to me watching the London derby. I wasn't in the squad at the time, so I was in the players and family box. And then as I was walking, I just felt somebody grab me and I looked and it was Thierry. So there was obviously, I was in a bad mood from not being at the squad, but then when he grabbed me, I was just startled a bit. He spoke to me very briefly because the game was about to kick off, but he just said that you need to just go for it. You need to just prove to these people that you're capable of doing it, whatever that takes. And he was just like, if you truly believe it, then you've got nothing to worry about. And that stuck with me.
What did that feel like in that moment, Balo, to have Thierry Henry single you out, give you that advice?
Yeah, I think it gave me a sort of fire, I'd say. It gave me a fire to prove that I can play on that stage, and it gave me a fire to prove that I should be here. I think that was the main thing I took from it, a sort of self-belief that I can do this and I should be here and I belong here.
You made your debut for Arsenal in the Europa League. You scored your first professional goal a month later in the same competition against Molde in Norway. I think it was with your first touch of the game after you'd replaced Eddie Nketiah at the Akker Stadium. And that season, you scored twice from just 5 substitute appearances. Then January 2022, in search of playing time, you went on loan to Middlesbrough. And going on loan, I mean, when you think about it, it's so bloody hard. You need playing time. The Championship's so different. North Yorkshire, take it from me, listeners, is a different planet to London, a new environment to adjust to, and only a brief time to do it. Can you talk about just how hard the loan experience can be for a young player like you?
Yeah, I think the loan experience it can be very difficult. I think for a numerous amount of reasons, and not all of them you're in control of. So I mean, depending on the state of the team, that would show how much pressure the manager has, which would also impact the decisions he makes and if he wants to give you opportunities or not. And then on top of that, I joined Middlesbrough in January, so it was midway through the season. I had to adapt very quickly. He played at the time a formation with 2 strikers, and I was playing as the deeper one. So I had to learn new things very quickly that I wasn't comfortable doing at first. And of course, this is just all part of the development. I was obviously annoyed at times, but I was reassured by people at Arsenal that this has been done on purpose in order for me to develop other parts of my games, and I had to just find peace with that and get on with it, really.
This past season, you went on loan again. Further afar, you signed a season-long loan at French club Rennes, and everything seemed to click. You scored on your debut against Marseille. You scored a stoppage time equaliser against none other than Paris Saint-Germain last January. You scored your first career hat-trick against Lyon a few days later. Honestly, you never stopped scoring. 21 league goals, rubbing elbows with the likes of Kylian Mbappe, your old teammate Lacazette, and CONCACAF Thunder rival Jonathan David on the Liga and scoring charts. Balo, besides a whole lot, what went right for you this season?
I think the main thing was just having the opportunity to play. I think, of course, if you play in any sort of fixture, but there's an expectation that you have to do it in one game, and that might be your only chance. It's a bit more difficult to implement what you want to do. But having that sort of belief in me that we've trusted you and we want to give you this opportunity, and then it's over to you really. And I think that's what really helped me to perform to the level I did.
Part of the Rand story this season of wonder was the appointment of young Wunderkind coach Will Still, 30-year-old ginger wonderkin who realised at an incredibly young age he'd never be quite good enough a player to go pro. So inspired by playing Football Manager, the Belgian-born Brit moved into coaching in college, first as a video analyst, assistant coach. And if you don't know the story, listeners, just Google Will Still, youngest head coach in Europe's top 5 leagues. Still doesn't have his coaching badges yet, which meant Rennes initially had to pay a $27,000 fine every game he managed before his UEFA Pro licence course started, worth every single franc. Rennes going on a 17-game unbeaten streak before Still experienced his first loss. Balo, what's it like working with someone younger than some of your own teammates? How does Will Still run training sessions, and what goes into such a remarkable turnaround? Tell us about him.
Yeah, I think the important thing that I think made Will such a unique and special coach was his ability to communicate in 3 languages. I mean, he was absolutely fluent in all 3 languages, which was unbelievable to me because it felt at times that I was just speaking to somebody from London. And then obviously the Dutch players and the French players were saying the same thing to me. So I think that was something that was pretty impressive. And then also his ability as a coach, I think it was actually, I was a bit blown away by it at the beginning. He had clear ideas of what he wanted to do, and he had a real clear philosophy on how he wanted to go about things. So as soon as he got the job, it was almost like he knew what he was doing. He was prepared for it, and then I think that sort of calmness kind of ran through the squad, and then we just kind of got to work really.
It was incredible to witness, and the next step of your club career is currently TBD. But one thing that, thank God, is tied up for sure is your international future. You called the decision to play for the United States a, quote, no-brainer. Despite being eligible for England, where you grew up and starred for the under-21s, and Nigeria, the birth country of your parents, you'd played for the US under-18s and the English under-21s, and you'd weighed up playing for both nations. And I'm curious what the courtship process looked like for you. When did the US Soccer Federation first reach out? And tell us how that goes down. Who are you talking with?
It was a long process. And I mean, it was a process that honestly, it went so far back I couldn't even recall the start date. But what I can remember quite clearly is just in the last sort of year, I think it kind of ramped up. I was speaking with the head coach at the time,
Anthony Hudson.
Yeah, and we had some conversations, but they was only brief about how he thought I could fit into the system. And then he also spoke with my agent. And then fortunately, or unfortunately, but ended up being a fortunate situation, I picked up an injury and I couldn't go to international, but we had some time off. So then me and my agent decided to go to America. We was in Orlando, and then he reached out and said that the squad was there as well. So I mean, it just kind of felt very nicely. We spoke to each other. We met up, and then he also just re-explained things from his point of view. kind of overlapped what he was saying, and then yeah, I think the information just kind of processed with me. I went back to France, and then a couple days later, me and my family spoke, and we just came to a conclusion.
There was an amazing period of time, and I want to unpack parts of it because I'm fascinated to hear what it felt like from your side. First of all, every single United States player we had on in that period, Balo, they were all over your social media. The love, the desire, the yearning. Everybody wanted this to happen. What does it feel like from your end to have the United States players lobbying you on social media to join?
Yeah, it's a wonderful feeling. I think a feeling that kind of humbles you, and it just shows the sort of it's a reflection of the team, I would say. I've only been here a short period of time, but I can clearly see the togetherness, and already I feel a part of something bigger. I feel a part of a family. So now that I know the boys, I can see that this is something that I should have been a part sooner. I think that's my only regret, not being a part of this sooner.
I am fascinated. I'm curious how it was for you last winter, knowing that you were possibly tilting towards this US team, that you were eligible for this US team. What was it like watching your possible future teammates at the last World Cup? They played well, scored just 3 goals. Was part of you watching, thinking, Lord, if I was there? Was part of you watching, itching to play?
Truthfully, I think I was at a point in my career where I was actually maybe midway through the season with Reims in France. And I just felt, like the timing of this has been it's been right. I feel like you can't really rush things. I felt like where I was in my development a year ago or 2 years ago wasn't where I am now. So I feel like me having the opportunity to have a season to play under pressure in front of fans, and I'm fighting for 3 points, it shows me, and I think it shows the world that I'm able to do it. So I wouldn't change the timing of anything, but I'm definitely happy that it's worked out the way it's worked out.
You mentioned after the tournament how things really picked up in earnest. And one of my favourite parts of this story was your time in Orlando, March 2023, which coincided with the US training camp there. You posted a picture of yourself on Instagram, and some modern-day Sherlock Holmes quickly figured out where you were based solely on the sign behind you that read, "Here to chase tail," which placed you, everyone knows that in America, at Pup's Pub, a, quote, full liquor dog park and sports bar in Orlando, Florida. And before you know it, Balo, the American Outlaws marched into the next game with a "We Want Flow" banner. What was it like from your side with American soccer losing their collective minds? I put myself in that too, to be candid, over your every move.
To be honest, I was absolutely shocked with how it just unfolded. I remember being with my agent and I took a picture, and I always kind of just speak to him before I post it, just like, "Oh, do you think this is a nice picture?" Or "Do you think this picture gives away that I'm here?" And then he said, "No, it should be fine." He said, "There's no way that this picture gives away anything." And then obviously, maybe 10 minutes into me posting it, I've looked at him and I was just like, "You got it so wrong." And it was just something we laughed about, to be honest, in the end. But the comments and the support I received was overwhelming. But there's nothing but gratitude from my end.
Before you know it, you're getting a Balogun number 9 jersey courtside from the Orlando Magic, one from the New York Yankees at spring training. I don't know another football federation that could hook you up with all those tickets. But ultimately, you've said, in terms of the decision to ride with us in the United States of America, you said, "I just went with my heart." Balo, what did your heart tell you? How did it feel? What did your heart tell you?
Yeah, I think that's what decisions like this come down to. I feel like meeting people and hearing things and people giving their opinions is obviously one thing, but at the end of the day, I have to make decisions for myself. And yeah, to be honest with you, my heart just said that this was the right decision. It said that this is the place that he was born. It says that there's a feeling of belonging every time I come back to the States when I'm on vacation. And there'll be no better opportunity to represent this country at the highest level. So, yeah, I would say it was a real internal conversation I had, but it was a very brief one, which also reinforces that this was the right thing for me.
When you've made the decision, Balo, how does it feel? Is it a joy? Is it a relief? Is it excitement to get going? What do you experience when you post that on Twitter, on Instagram? What emotions did you feel?
No, truthfully, I felt a sort of nerves at first, and that was only because of what I was doing at the time. I was doing a running session, and then I was just told that it's gonna go up at, I think, 4 o'clock my time. So I just had to make sure I got inside on time from the running session, and then I feel like I was still in my kit. I posted it, and then as soon as I pressed that button, there was just a feeling of relief, I think. So I felt different emotions, and then once the relief settled, just pure excitement. And honestly, me being out here in Vegas, I've met everyone. There's still that feeling of excitement of what's to come. So it's a lovely feeling.
Balo, you've trained with these US boys for just over a week now. From the inside, how good are these gents? How good can they be? Give us a sense.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they speak about this US team, they speak about what they could be in the future. But honestly, from me being here within, I truthfully believe the time is actually now. There's so many different players at different points in their careers, but from what I've seen, the detail that goes into training, the intensity, and the information we're getting from BJ, who's the manager at the moment, it's very, very detailed, and it shows me the direction that we're heading in, which is just to be a dominant force and to win games, no matter who the opponent is. So I'm definitely proud to be a part of this, and as I said before, it feels as something that's happening now. It's not something that we have to wait 2 or 3 years to unlock the full potential. I feel like it's actually happening now in front of us.
We've seen a lot of social media of Weston McKennie coaching your golf game. How is he as a teacher? How are you off the tee?
I think it's not so much Weston as a teacher. I think I'm a good listener. But no, I think I picked up some tips, and obviously I've picked up what I need to do from the mistakes I've made. So, but nah, to be honest, I mean, Weston, he's a good guy. He's made an effort to make me feel comfortable. And yeah, he's somebody that it feels like I've known him longer. You know, we get on, and yeah, on that particular clip, the first shot I took wasn't so good, but then with a bit of adjustments, the next one was a better hit.
Whatever Weston tells you, just do the opposite, and you will be going around in low 80s in no time. But you have some debut lying ahead against Mexico. Balo, do you have a sense of that rivalry already?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I played in different rivalries, and I know that each rivalry has to be respected for what it is. It means different things to different people. So I've taken the time to speak to my teammates, and I've taken the time to understand it. And for sure, it's a big rivalry and something that there'll be a lot of emotion attached to. But at the end of the day, we have to remember that we're here to do a job, and we're here to win something bigger. So it's just another game and something we need to just do and win in order to reach our objectives.
Think about them, Balo, as CONCACAF Spurs. And you know that you've scored a lot of goals for your club, for your loan club, everywhere you've been. Do you imagine an international goal at full international level will feel different?
Yeah, I feel like I'll be normally. I mean, of course, I'm pumped to score, but I mean, I feel like emotion will probably overwhelm me scoring for the US. So that's a feeling I'm hoping to experience very soon.
Balo, I want you to close your eyes and just imagine with me. It's June 2026. The World Cup is being hosted. It's on United States soil for the first time since 1994. And you step onto the grass to represent the United States of America with your teammates in the World Cup in front of a rabid home support. What goes through your mind as you think about that? How do you envision it? What emotions does it bring up for you?
think it. I mean, it's a little while away, but of course, I'd be lying if I told you I haven't. My mind hasn't gone there, but when I even think about it briefly, it's just emotion overwhelms me. I feel like it would be such a proud moment for not only myself but my family and also the nation. I feel like it would just be such a beautiful event, and it's our job to make sure it's something that the people remember forever.
Balo, your journey is amazing. It's incredibly inspiring. I got to say, as a fellow English American, I'm honoured to share a country with you. You're going to do great things. May you be the best of us. We're all honoured to have a front row seat to witness it. Thank you, mate.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure for me to be here and speak to you, and I wish you the best also.
Courage. Subscribe here for more Men in Blazers videos, and courage.